Namaskar all. Let us start with a short prayer. Om Dhyayamo Dhavalavagundanavati Tejomayim Naishthigim Snigdhapangavilokini Bhagavati Mandasmita Srimukhi Vatsalyamritavarshinim Sumadhuram Sankirtanalapinim Shyamangim Madhusikta Suktim Amritanandatmikam Welcome all. I know this is an exciting day for all because we are going to have the first quiz. So let me welcome Jijin sir for the class and the quiz.
So we have completed around 5 sessions, which are like the fundamental chapters, the 5 fundamental chapters that we have in the rivers of Ṛgveda. It's also the 5 sessions, which is like kind of a foundation to the geography aspects of Ṛgveda. So whatever we have studied so far is on the chronology of the Ṛgveda and the 3 fundamental aspects of Ṛgveda, the Ṛgvedic kings, the Ṛgvedic rishis, and the Ṛgvedic devatas, and also a kind of a basic introduction to the Ṛgveda. So these 5 sessions constitute the first module of our class, and then the remaining modules will be focusing on the geography of Ṛgveda. So before proceeding to the main subject, which is the geography of the Ṛgveda, where we start with the rivers, summary of the rivers, etc. It is a very important and very good that we have a kind of a small assignment. So I will ask Surajji to initiate the assignment activity. So this assignment is around 25 questions, which you can answer in 10 minutes or maybe in 15 minutes. Have a kind of a time boundness. We have put it as part of this today's session. So maybe we'll initiate that and then look at some results, etc., and then proceed to the subsequent session. So the first part of it will be the assignment. So I would like everyone. So how many people are there in the class? Let me check.
Sir,
Yeah.
11 people are there. Many of them, sent message that they are not available tonight. So, is it possible possible for them to attend it later? They asked, like that. So,
Okay, that's also possible. Do we want to make it as a time bound or it is offline kind of thing?
now it's Google Forms. So maybe I can share the link in the chat box, and maybe we could. Now it's 7:05. So can I post it now, sir?
Yeah, yes. So maybe the 11 or 13 participants here, they can attempt it on a time bound manner, and then others who are actually doing offline, we note down it that it is an offline evaluation. So is that fine? For those who are evaluating offline, we will note that it is an offline evaluation, and those who are having the evaluation right now in the 10-15 minutes, that will be considered as the time-bound online evaluation. Will that be fine?
Yes, sir. I already posted that in the chat. The link.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll request the participants who are online just attempt it. These questions are not very complicated or very tough questions, etc. Basically, understand the general chronology of the Ṛgveda, whether not that you can understand yourself how much is the chronology of Ṛgveda is understood, and things like that. So maybe just we will go through it, and then for the remaining people, we will have it offline, but we will record it as an offline evaluation. Like that. So actually, we can start the questions. So I think what we can do is we can so you can note down the people who have completed on the live session with the time bound.
Okay, sir.
Others we can consider it as an offline evaluation.
Okay.
Everybody else who are there, and as well as who will be doing it later anytime after sharing the link in the WhatsApp group as well.
Okay,
So
sir.
that will be considered as offline evaluation. Like that.
Okay, sir.
So kudos for the 7 people who have completed it. I think around 15 minutes. Do we require it to be 25 minutes, or it is fine? I mean, I consider it as a 15 minutes evaluation.
Hi sir, can you please share the link like current like right now, because I also joined little late.
Yeah, not a problem. So now Surajji will share it into the WhatsApp group as well as you can do it in an offline evaluation mode.
Okay sir.
Yeah, with no time limit or anything like that. So I think what we do is the people who are doing the assessment at real time as a time bound, that we are noting as a like a special evaluation, and others who are doing it in offline with unlimited time, we're considering it as offline evaluation. So we will proceed with the class. So because in this will be an introduction to the next session, which is the primary topic, that is the rivers of Ṛgveda. So as I mentioned, all the 5 sessions before, they were primarily on the introduction to the Ṛgveda, the chronology of the 10 mandalas of the Ṛgveda, and the kings, rishis, and devatas. So these 5 aspects we are all very clear and thorough, and this assignment also will help you to get the knowledge solidified. And the study of the rivers is actually based on the chronology of the Ṛgveda. So that is why this particular module with the 5 sessions is very important in terms of the getting a 100% familiarity on the chronology, because now subsequently when we are mentioning, what we mention is a particular river is found in particular mandala. So when we see the river name in a particular mandala, you should be able to understand, okay, this mandala is very old, so this river is discovered in a very ancient period. If a river is discovered in the 10th mandala, obviously that river is discovered in a very later period. Or for example, if a river is found in the 6th mandala, that river is known to the Ṛgvedic people since the early Ṛgvedic period. So that kind of information, that kind of you can say understanding, you will be able to get if you know that the chronology of the mandalas of the Ṛgveda. So that is why the 5 sessions are foundational, and with the understanding that we get based on the 5 sessions on the rivers as well as the kings and the rishis and the devatas, we will be able to build on new knowledge and new inferences, etc. So that's how the course is structured, as well as the book is structured. And another important thing, the 5 sessions that we had in the last 5 weeks, that will be useful for anybody who is focused on Ṛgveda, not only for anybody focused on the geography of Ṛgveda. That foundational sessions will be used for anybody who is focusing on the philosophy of Ṛgveda, or want to read Ṛgveda in a traditional manner, where its primary objective of reciting it or as a ritual use of Ṛgvedic suktas and rigs. So that is the advantage of the foundation of the foundation chapters of the Ṛgveda. So we have passed that, and now very much ready for embarking onto the new journey. And this is also a very exciting journey because it is a journey through the rivers of the Ṛgveda. So there are many books written, like for example, Michel Danino has written a book, The Lost River Saraswati. So that was a very kind of eye-opening book. In fact, I have also read it in my formative research days. It was exclusively on the river Saraswati, and he was explaining why Saraswati has to be located in the Haryana, and like not anywhere else. And you may be surprised why somebody has to write a book like that, that Saraswati river is in Haryana, like that. You may not be, the new generation may not be able to believe that there are hundreds of scholars who argued that the river Saraswati is in Afghanistan, not native to India, etc. And entire research was completely politicized, and there was a lot of takers for that kind of an understanding. And that is why many scholars have to spend a book to assert that river Saraswati is in Haryana, actually. So Michel Danino has done the foundational work on the rivers, but primarily he's focused only on the one river, that is the river Saraswati. And I'm also fortunate to be part of ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, who have done pioneer work in the satellite study of the region, in the like Rajasthan and Gujarat and the eastern area of Pakistan, where the river Saraswati is flowing, and using satellite imagery of the IRS, that is Indian remote sensing satellites, there was very clearly the entire trace of the river Saraswati was outlined using the satellites, ISRO satellites. So whatever the scholars have studied the Saraswati river using textual information in Ṛgveda and other Brahmanas and Aranyakas and other Vedas, ISRO was able to support by studying it from the sky and understanding the course of the river. Of course, then even after this big river, which is as big as Sindhu River, because it's very clear by looking at the delta, the river, any river, like after flowing for thousands of years, it will create a kind of a river valley, which is much larger than the river itself. Like, so a river may be 2-3 kilometers width, but the valley of that river creates, because it has slight fluctuation in its course. So after 100 years, river will shift a few kilometers here and both to the left and right. So because of that, for every river, there is a big region, which is the basin of the river. So the river basin, that will be sometimes it will be as large as 50 kilometers or even 100-kilometer big basins of the river. Both for Sindhu and Saraswati, that both rivers have that kind of a big basin. So we are talking about a river as big as Sindhu River. Just like Sindhu River it's a very big, wide river, very large river, and it created a basin of around 50 to 100 kilometers on both sides of the river. Similarly, there was another basin, river basin, for this particular river that is starting flowing from Haryana up to the Rann of Kutch in Gujarat. So there is such a big river basin which is equivalent or maybe even larger than the basin of Sindhu River. And then the scholars, that is the Aryan invasion theory based motivated scholars, try to argue that river is not Saraswati, that is some other river, like that. I mean, that is like very unfortunate, but that was the kind of scholarship we had 20 years of 20 to 40 years ago. And they even say that another very strange argument came. The original Saraswati is the Ṛgvedic river in Afghanistan, and people migrated to the Haryana, and then in memory of the Ṛgvedic river, they have given the name Saraswati to the very big river. So when, as a scientist in ISRO, when I looked at the Ṛgvedic river in Afghanistan, there is a river like with that name. It was not even worthy of being a tributary of the Saraswati river. Very small river, but they think that this small river's name, pronounced in Avestan language, Persian and Avestan language, got transposed to this very large river flowing in like Haryana and Rajasthan, Pakistan border, and then going to the Ran of Kutch. Such a very large river. Such a very sloppy argument, very unusual, and very kind of a losing argument. But still, they were able to manage with that argument for a very long time. So we have passed that stage, and now with all the evidence, it is very clear. Of course, with all the scholarship with Michel Danino, they have who have put it in a big book on the lost river of Saraswati, etc. So many other scholars, and now that kind of Polish scholarship is no longer there, and it is very clearly established that the Ṛgvedic river Saraswati is the river that originates somewhere in the north of Haryana, on the Shivalik hills of the Himalayas, flow through the Kurukshetra, and then slightly move southwestwards and flow almost along the border of India, Pakistan, like somewhat into the Punjab, in the provinces of Pakistan, and then finally drains into the Ran of Kutch in Gujarat. So that is very unambiguous, and very clearly it is established both through ISRO satellite imagery and also all the kind of scholarship that has been established in the from various scholars, not only the Indian scholars, but many other Western scholars who are actually on the side of truth and don't want to go into a sloppy, politically motivated research. So many of them, like Dr. Konrad Elst, they have all very well established that the river Saraswati is the Indian river, especially the river flowing through the Haryana. So that is it's a big battle. That's what I wanted to, it was a big battle of intellectuals. Some intellectuals who wanted to, politically motivated. Not all of them are politically motivated, because see, some of the secondary scholars will automatically get carried away by whatever is dominant narrative. So not all of them are, you can say the word liars, or not all of them were cheaters. They just got carried away by the dominant narrative, and they didn't check much more detail into the data, or not into the geography, or not into the geology or data, or any kind of literature study. They just automatically assumed whatever is dominant is the true right thing. And I think even the battle is not even there are still people who think about the Saraswati as the Afghanistan river and try to argue. Even I have seen in Wikipedia sometimes some pages still maintaining it, but some other pages very correctly says the Saraswati is the river flowing through the Haryana, etc. But even their glimpse, bits and pieces here and there, they will start to argue that it is the Afghan river, etc. So why one of the reason why this kind of battle, even after defeating 100 times, still these people battle this, because once they admit that the Saraswati river is the river of Haryana, then whatever the chronology that they decided for Ṛgveda, everything falls flat, including the Aryan invasion theory, which is built on top of it. Everything get completely destroyed and dismantled. That's why still they cling on to some kind of very silly reasons. They still cling on to this the river Saraswati, etc. So this is just a basic introduction, and a lot of battles, intellectual battles, been fought on the location of Saraswati, etc. But now that we already passed that phase, and then there are no ambiguity that the river is the Saraswati river, and it also makes sense because see, our civilization gives a great importance to the river Saraswati. That is why the Saraswati river is deified as the goddess, and she is not deified as the goddess of wealth or power or anything. She is deified as the goddess of knowledge. So that is the only reason is because that is the place where the knowledge, that is knowledge, the other meaning of knowledge, the other term for knowledge is Veda. So that is where the Vedas originated. And still, even in small villages in India, all over India, everybody have a great reverence for the river Saraswati as a goddess of knowledge, goddess of walk, that is the spoken words, poetry, etc., music, everything. That kind of a connection, that kind of a feeling will never be there for any kind of an faraway river, etc. And as I mentioned, very small river, name getting transposed. That's all very silly reasons. And even if you look at it, there are more other geographical reasons which I have put in my book, because of which there is no need of kind of a speculative arguments that it might have been transposed from there to here, from Afghanistan to here, or that no kind of argument is required. There are suttas, verses in the Ṛgveda which very clearly locates Saraswati between Yamuna and Satluj. So the two rivers, Yamuna, the same people not have any conflict of interest, or they cannot argue that Yamuna is in Afghanistan. Nobody argues that Satluj is in Afghanistan. That is, Satluj is Shatadru river, Sududri in the Ṛgveda. Satluj is the river of Punjab, and Yamuna is the river of bordering Haryana and Uttar Pradesh. These two rivers, they don't touch those rivers because they know it is futile to argue that Yamuna is in Afghanistan or Satluj is in Afghanistan. So they don't tell anything about it. But Ṛgveda clearly mentioned Saraswati is between Yamuna and Satluj river. So there is no kind of need of any speculation like it has been came from there, came from where, etc. So that is the advantage of an analysis of the river data in the Ṛgveda, and that is exactly I have done in my book. So compared to Michel Danino, who was focused on the Saraswati river, I have focused on around 30 plus rivers in the Ṛgveda, including the river Saraswati. And also I have analyzed the relative locations of the river, like I mentioned about Yamuna and Satluj and Saraswati lying in between these two rivers. So there is no need of, if you think about a single river, people can manipulate. But when you have a network of rivers, when you have a collection of rivers, and we know the location of each of those rivers, then it is very difficult to manipulate that data. And once I start putting this data into a tabular form based on the chronological sequence of the Ṛgveda, the answer, it gives a very clear answer on the direction of migration of people. So it's something like you have a mathematical formula and putting all the values, all the relevant values of the unknown variables in that equation, and finally you get the result. So that is exactly the kind of feeling that you get when you put all this data of the rivers in a tabular form, and that is what our starting point of our this current module, which will be focusing on the rivers. So I'm just in 2 minutes. I'm only giving a glimpse because in the next session we will go at detail to the river. So just to give a glimpse, we have around 45 hydronyms. So hydronyms means a river name. So it need not be the actually the name of the river, but the names which indicate that they could be the rivers. So you need some filtering of these 45 names and understand that okay, some of them are really rivers, some of them are some unrelated, some personal names, etc. So these are the 45 hydronyms. So there are 45 river names or hydronyms in the Ṛgveda, even though not all of them are purely geographical rivers, etc. So that's the initial thing. And then if you go here, this is a kind of a table which I mentioned. You can see the mandalas here: 6th, 3rd, 7th, 4th, 2nd, 1st, 5th, 8th, 9th, 10th. The chronological sequencing of the mandalas, the 10 mandalas of the Ṛgveda. And here you can see each river is like mentioned here, and the number of occurrences of each river, like 70 times Saraswati is mentioned, out of which 14 times in 6th mandala, 3 times in 3rd mandala. So the frequency wise is equal to frequency signature. So frequency wise each mandala, how the rivers are mentioned, all these are put in here. And this red color indicate that we have rejected this data because either they are not rivers or the particular reference is not about a river. So that is some very rare data we have rejected because it is not very integrity is not very. So remaining is a high integrity data of the rivers arranged chronologically. So on the frequency of occurrence of these river names in the Ṛgveda. And finally, so this data itself, for anybody with a sharp mind and sharp eyes, they can clearly understand that now, so the oldest river, one of the oldest river familiar to the Ṛgvedic people is the Saraswati, and then only then they started familiarizing with the rivers, the western rivers, etc. That is inherent and that is indirectly found in this particular table. But for a better clarity, what I did is all the new, like I listed down all the newly discovered rivers in each mandala, then this particular pattern becomes even more clearer. So this 6th mandala, the whatever newly discovered or newly first time references of the rivers, they are Haryupya, Yavyavati, Ganga, and Saraswati. So the Ganga is mentioned in the oldest mandala, that is 6th mandala. Saraswati is mentioned in that. And there are 2 local rivers of Haryana, Haryupya and Yavyavati. All these are found in the oldest Ṛgvedic mandala. And the answer is clear. The Ṛgvedic people were living there. And subsequently, when you go to the next old mandala, you have some other rivers like the Shatpati, Apaya, then Sududri, Vipash, Jannavi, etc. So see, Sududri, Vipash is actually the Punjab rivers, and Jannavi is another name of Ganga. So these 2 rivers indicate that they have moved a little more bigger. So there is some other rivers in Haryana, but see, because when you are living in a place for a very long period of time, you may encounter one or two new rivers, and then also have pre-existing rivers. You will refer it, right? So that is why this is it's like that. But Sududri and Vipash, that is Satluj and Bias in Punjab, clearly indicate they have moved westwards. Similarly, in the 7th mandala, you have the other rivers like Asikni, Parushni, and Yamuna. That is they are on local river. But the 2 new rivers which are further west. Asikni is the Chenab and Parushni is the Ravi river, both in Pakistan. So they have moved a little more westward. Then you have the Sindhu river, that is somewhat in the flowing through the middle of the Pakistan. You have the Vitasta Jalam river. Then there are Sarayu, that is the western Sarayu river, not to be confused with the UP Sarayu. The Rasa is the, so I will come to while and familiarize with those. And similarly, you go further. If this goes, then, for example, the much more younger mandala, you have these Kubha, Krumu, and Gomati rivers. Kubha is the Kabul river. It goes to Afghanistan. So you see the migration to the west is very clearly like you can see in this particular data. So regarding this particular very pertinent question of which direction the Ṛgvedic people move from, that is directly in a kind of east to west from direction, from Saraswati to the westwards into our own Punjab, then the Pakistan side of Punjab, then the rest of Pakistan, and then direct to the Afghanistan. That is very clear in the data. So that is and you get immediately, like, just make a tabular form for tabulation of all the rivers in Rigveda and sequence it based on the chronology that we have understood, and then the answer becomes very clear, like solving a mathematical equation. That's how it is. So now I stop, and maybe we'll look for some questions and comments.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
How did we determine that the names of the rivers that we have, like Rasa, Gauri, Shweta, as rivers and not any conceptual thoughts like Rasa being just Rasa or Gauri being like the deity? How did we determine that these are rivers, especially, and not deities or concepts?
So the verses in which these rivers are mentioned, like, that gives you the clearly understanding that they are rivers, because they will mention some people are crossing that river, or there is a flood occurring in that river. All these things are mentioned there. So from these references, we know that these are rivers. So anyway, since you have seen some reddish blocks, so some very rarely only there you get some ambiguity. Like, for example, Gauri is a river name, but it's also a name of an animal, etc. So that is a very rare situation. But otherwise, that it is a river becomes very clear. And there in the 10th mandala, there is a very explicit sukta itself, which is called Nadi Sukta. And in that Nadi Sukta, the Saraswati, Sindhu, all the rivers are mentioned. So I understand your question. Say, for example, there is a big kind of paradigm which is like found in the traditional understanding of Rigveda. Like, every noun inside the Rigveda is a philosophical concept, etc. But see, they have very kind of, they have not familiarized with the text in detail, because most of them have using the Rigveda for many generations, even thousands of years, they recite Rigveda and they use it for a ritual purpose. But they have not gone through every sukta, because for ritual purpose there will be some select suktas like Apre suktas, or a particular sukta that has to be recited, etc. And there is also the tradition of reciting the Rigveda from start to end, even reverse direction, etc. The Kadavallur Anyonyam. So, but even there, the focus is on the recitation itself, but not on the meaning, mostly on the meanings, or even the other contextual information, etc. So that's why they miss this particular problem. So then in the Nadi Sukta, Saraswati is mentioned, very clearly tell that river Saraswati is a river. Of course, she is also deified, and we worship her as a goddess. But it's very natural for the Sanatana Dharma. We worship the rivers, we worship the mountains. So there is no conflict or contradiction also in that. So there are suktas like Nadi Sukta which directly, without any ambiguity, mention the rivers. 21 rivers are mentioned like that. Then there are other rivers. So I said 30 plus rivers, right? They are all mentioned, recognized based on context. Just in 5% cases, we may have some ambiguity. Like that, I have in the table I have noted and shown it in slight reddish color, that kind of ambiguous cases, and we filtered it out because we don't get any kind of comments that we were we were not using very solid data or not like that. So we just filtered any ambiguous information inside the river data in the Rigveda, and we get the result that migration is from east to west. Yeah. So Swaji, then we can conclude the session, and this session on the rivers we'll also take it in detail in the next next lecture. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Let us conclude by chanting Loga Samasta, and I'll forward the Google Form link to the WhatsApp group. So those who are not participated in the quiz, they can now participate in the quiz. Thank you all. Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om.